Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And February is February 2026, and it is a highly active month, astrologically speaking. In today's show, we're going to be working with the Leo full moon that just occurred on Sunday, we're in eclipse season, so there's upcoming eclipses, and Uranus stationing direct that occurred yesterday, today, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome, Kiki. Welcome, Alicia. And there's just tremendous amounts going on. So February is hang on, hang on to your seats, go with the flow, deep breaths. It's all happening for us. But we're going to go, the Leo full moon kicked it off. And then again, there's just so much. I mean, Saturn will re enter Aries, then Saturn and Neptune will conjoin. That has not happened at the 0 point in Aries, hasn't happened since 4000 something BCE. There's no record, there's no written record of what occurred the last time this happened. And it's at the 0 point of Aries, like the beginning of everything. So that's occurring. We have the two eclipses. Mercury goes retrograde. There's 6 planets on at the end of the month that are in alignment in Aries. All this happening in this very tight, short span of time. So let's jump into it. Where are we? We're looking at the Leo. Well, here's our current main energies. It's February, so it's a 2 month. So we have the receptive, the divine feminine, reflect, youthful folly, try again. So it's about being childlike again, so that we're not discouraged by where we've been or what we've experienced in the past, but what's before us in the present moment. Then it's a 1 year, all year long. So the creative, initiate with that 10, treading, cautious, advance. And then legions, 7. It all culminates in a 7. And that's, of course, as you know, that is the foundation. The 7 is the foundation of God's word, of the divine. And it's divine perfection, completion, and fulfillment. So we have this going on as well. And then when we look at the astrological chart, this is the chart for the Leo full moon that just occurred on Sunday, February 1st. And immediately when you look, you see the moon at the top left at about 11 o'clock, and these red rays shooting across to that stellium of planets that are all in Aquarius. And so you have Pluto, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, all being opposed by the sun, by the moon, and pardon me, and then over there about almost 2 o'clock is Uranus, and it's retrograde at the moment, at the time of the full moon, and it's squaring a portion of these planets. And then we have that mini grand water trine. Well, what did this all say intuitively? Well, what I heard was laser-like precision. Laser-like precision is to be, I mean, extremely accurate. It's like, it's a dead hit, meaning it hits the nose, it hits the bullseye. And then they said like a dart to the heart. But I heard also the words like laser, dart, dagger to the heart. So this Leo full moon, the energies of it that are going to be arcing out, can have a laser, dart, or dagger-like effect to the heart. And then I also heard the phrase, death becomes her. Now that's a movie, Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, I forget the gentleman. But what was interesting was that it had a male energy to it. So like the divine, the masculine energy. And so again, not to put out alarm, but there was something about the fact that this could also reflect those that are male that may pass. And so again, it's to watch how this all plays out. But laser-like precision, a dart, laser, dagger to the heart. because of course Leo represents it is the heart. The royal lion is the heart. And so we have this showing up in this Leo full moon chart. So it'll be very interesting to see what plays out. Now, let me back up for a second because we're going to begin with a quote. This is by Edward Everett Hale. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can. We're all being called to action, that wake up. And so this is about not becoming overwhelmed with, it's not like saving the world. It's about breaking it down into the individual pieces that say, in this moment, what am I to do? Listening to your soul and saying, let me take that next step. Let me take that action, whatever it may be. And thereby, I will not refuse to do something that I can do. So it's not to become overwhelmed with the world, the state of the world, or what's happening, or how it's all going to play out. It's simply to take accountability and responsibility for what's within your ability, your control, listening, and then going as guided. So we start there with all of this. Well, then we come to our main theme. And our main theme is where the rubber meets the road. It's go time. And where the rubber meets the road, the point at which a theory or idea is put to a practical test, or to test a concept in the real world or market, the most important point for something, a place or circumstance at which the implementation of a plan or intention is to be achieved, the moment of truth. Well, so this, the rubber meets the road, it's go time, is all about where the rubber meets the road. It's this go time. Well, what is it's go time? Because it's also this moment of truth. So spiritually, it's its go time represents a divine or kairos moment, an appointed, ordained time by God, by the divine, to stop waiting and start acting on promises, dreams, or purposes. It signifies the end of a season of preparation, wilderness, or delay, and the beginning of a season of movement, acceleration, and manifestation. We are completing all the major planets are shifting signs. These are generational planets that take, the minimum is 30 some year or 29 years with Saturn, 165 years with Pluto, 84 years with Uranus, I believe, or Jupiter, Uranus, but big generational changes. And so where the rubber meets the road, this is where it becomes, where it gets real, and it's go time. It also has to do with, it signifies the end of a season of preparation and so forth. And then it's about, it is a signal that the spiritual, mental, and circumstantial preparations are complete, and it is time to move forward in faith, even if not all the details are known. It's the end of delays. It represents a no more delay moment where the divine is decommissioning old, stagnant, or restrictive cycles and green lighting new productive ventures. It's an awakening. Remember the unseen last week. Wake up. So there's an urgency, a wake up. It is a call from the Holy Spirit to wake up, arise, and move from a state of passive waiting to active, purposeful engagement with one's destiny. And you'll see, and when we get into the astrology, where destiny, free will, but destiny is involved here. It can indicate it is a time to stop running and start fighting in the spirit, using the divine's power to overcome obstacles. And it's about birthing the unexpected. Uranus is aspected all month long. And so, and Uranus is higher mind, but it's also expect the unexpected. And so it often precedes the manifestation of unexpected miracles or the birthing of dreams and ministries that have been dormant for years. So it's this time of internal training is complete, situations become unbearable. So we're energized to move forward. and a shift in authority when you stop trying to please people and start acting under the authority of the divine, an audience of one, your soul source connection. What is my soul guiding me to do? And it doesn't matter what other people think or say, or what triggers them and their fears, or why they're holding back, or why they don't want you to move forward. That's irrelevant. That's on them. That's theirs. That's in their basket to own and deal with. All you need to do is listen, go as guided. And ultimately, it's go time is a prompt to trust God, trust the divine. The timing is perfect, shifting you from a season of waiting to a season of running, meaning accelerating. So we have this beautiful, I'm just bringing it back up again, our main theme, where the rubber meets the road, it's go time. And how, with laser like precision, it's like a dart, a dagger, however this plays out, or a laser to the heart, meaning it's going to hit to the heart of things and it's going to advance us and propel us forward. Number one from the unseen, shifts in consciousness, an upgrade like no other. So all of this is culminating, all in this month, February. Oh, it's like high octane. All of this is in preparation because the final planet, Uranus, is the final planet to shift into its next new permanent sign on April 26, 2026. So all of this is crescendoing, building, occurring to catapult us forward. So shifts in consciousness, an upgrade like no other. And then, and they were pointing to the number 7. So this divine, the foundation of God's word, the divine fulfillment and completion and promise, that it's built on these covenants and promises and covenants and so forth. And so they were pointing to that. And then I heard the word number 2 from the unseen was plasma, just the word plasma. And then plasma consciousness. And they said pure, powerful, clean, accelerated advance. So let me back up and we'll look at plasma consciousness. Plasma consciousness is a theory proposing that plasma, the fourth state of matter, making up 99% of the visible universe, the visible universe, acts as a self-organizing, intelligent, and communicative medium. It suggests plasma forms neural-like networks that store information and may represent the fundamental substrate of consciousness, extending from stellar structures to biological organisms. The unseen, as above, so below, our soul source connection. So this plasma consciousness is quote unquote a theory proposing that plasma, the fourth state of matter, making up 99% of the physical world, all that we see, acts as a self-organizing, intelligent, communicative medium. It's alive, it's thinking, it's consciousness, it's what we're connected to. And so it's about intelligent behavior, structural similarities, this substrate of the mind, and that it's the concept bridges astrophysics, plasma physics, and consciousness research, sometimes intersecting with studies on UAP phenomena, unidentified objects, and so forth, otherworldly beings, crafts. While some perspectives view this as a potential new, grounded, or even spiritual understanding of the universe, other viewpoints caution that characterizing plasma as inherently conscious may verge on pseudoscience, arguing that similar looking behaviors do not equate to actual consciousness. So, again, we know what we know until we know. The universe, God, the all that is ever evolving as much as it remains constant and consistent. It's also ever evolving and ever changing, growing. And so shifts in consciousness, an upgrade like no other, plasma consciousness, pure, powerful, clean, And plasma is clean. It's powerful, it's pure, it's clean. Accelerated advance. Well, accelerated advance. The spiritual meaning of accelerated advance, often referred to as divine acceleration, signifies a season where God, the divine, or the universe intervenes to drastically speed up progress, fulfilling promises, breakthroughs, and destinies in a fraction of the normal time. It represents a shift from a season of waiting, delay, or stagnation into a period of supernatural momentum where results appear suddenly. This is an expansion of consciousness. So again, remember, we've been talking about this, and I understand that, you know, it can feel very, fairy tale-esque, but there's, the immediate manifestation where someone thinks something and it occurs instantaneously, and how we're aware of this, that we're aware that this has happened before, or, the levitation of, 1,000-ton stones with the mind, with energy, the great pyramids. There's all these things. Walk like an Egyptian. They were talking about, the unseen was talking about, go back to a time where we even today can still not explain how they were constructed, how it was done. And yet we're, quote unquote, the most modern, advanced, you know, um, of humanity in this moment. And yet we still can't replicate it, explain it. This is what the unseen is talking about, that we're coming to the, we're crossing the threshold into the new, where this expansion of consciousness, this accelerated advance occurs. And so it represents this shift, and it talks about supernatural speed and time recovery, sudden breakthroughs and or breakdowns depending on where we are, where you are on the ascension ladder. Um, Supernatural advancement and an alignment with destiny, with your soul's true calling. Because again, the ego, mind, personality, human tends to always play it small, ordinary, small. What's safe? Beyond what's safe, what's ordinary, lies the extraordinary, the supernatural, the ability to manifest things that, again, we barely scratched the surface with. And all of this, as above, so below, all of the major planets shifting, that stellium of planets coming up at the end of the month, all in Aries. It's the impulse to be. That is the sign. That is the I. Here I am. Well, they're all lining up in Aries. After the eclipses, the fire horse, the change of the Chinese New Year, the eclipses, the Saturn and Neptune coming together at the 0 point degree. I mean, it doesn't get any more juicy. So this is what we're talking about with accelerated advance, plasma consciousness, an upgrade like no other, and where the rubber meets the road. It's go time. This is where it becomes real. So now let's move into, I want to hit a couple of the hopefully we can get all these in, but I'm going to go to astrologer Chani Nicholas really quickly. This is the weekly issue number 101. And she said, don't hold back. Number 7 from the unseen is no holding back. It's now or never time. And there was an aspect of the fairy tale like once upon a time. Well, it's number 7, foundation of God's word, magic, miracles, magic, awe, and wonder. And they said no holding back. And to Chani Nicholas's point, don't hold back. So this aspect of not holding back, of going with the flow. And each time fear arises, replace it with the word faith or love or light. So when fear arises, just keep repeating the words faith, love, light until it dissipates and goes away. Because faith and fear cannot exist at the same time. So we pick one. So when fear arises, anxiety, worry, fear, lack, immediately convert it to faith. Faith, faith, faith. Love, love, love. Light, light, light. And it'll shift you. So, Channing Nicholas, if this week had a soundtrack, it would be a primal scream. Uranus, the planet of loud disruptions, is stationing direct in Taurus within a degree of the fixed star Algol, the blinking eye of Medusa. Translation: swallowing your rage is not an option, but channeling it is the remedy. This is the last stretch of Uranus's travels through Taurus. And because both Mercury, the planet of communication, and Venus, the planet of love and beauty, will square it this week, square is a frictional aspect in astrology, it's time to tell the truth and be the righteous rage the world needs right now. This is about standing up, waking up, being in alignment, and utilizing your voice appropriately when needed and necessary. Remember, the lion, it's going to the heart of the matter. You don't have to roar to be heard. And yet, if need be, roar. Channel that to set boundaries, to stand up for yourselves, to make changes, proactive, positive changes. When Mercury enters Pisces on Friday, our comms will get messy fast. So our communications are going to get a little um, softened and yet maybe confusing. When in doubt, be intentional with the way you speak, connect, and move. It will help you turn the disruption into direct action. So now I want to move to um, astrology.com because she's talking about, pardon me, this is Kyle Thomas from astrology.com, is talking about the upcoming eclipse season, and we're in eclipse season. And so let me just welcome Heather, welcome Colleen, welcome Elizabeth. And so Neptune's final bow, this is it's an excerpt from Kyle Thomas's article at astrology.com. Our lives are constantly changing and evolving, even if at times we feel like we've been in the same place for too long. The universe, however, the unseen, has powerful tools to transform our paths, and the most intense are often triggered by eclipses. Eclipse season, which tends to happen about 2 times a year, is when we experience solar eclipses, the sun, and lunar eclipses, the moon. These lunations are particularly mighty, as they are 3 times stronger than a normal new moon or full moon. Because of this, eclipse season often marks that, quote, destiny has come, and we are being forced to evolve upon our life's path much faster than we may have initially expected. Plasma, consciousness, pure, powerful, clean, accelerated advance, things that are going to happen more rapidly. These lunations are particularly mighty, they're 3 times stronger, and that it moves us with destiny. And so we are officially in eclipse season now because of the Leo full moon, now until the beginning of April. So prepare for the finger of fate to move through your life in profound and majestic ways. At the end of January, this was just past, we can feel an almost electrical crackle in the atmosphere around us. This is because synchronicities are around every corner, and we are about to watch as our lives shift and change around us, and we become very aware that as much as we have free will, destiny exists. So again, this is really important. Where the ego mind personality might be, monkey mind might be, ha, 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 ha. It's important. Threading the needle, walking the narrow path, being in soul source alignment. It's very important to listen to your soul. It will always guide you true north. Because here's, as much as we have free will, destiny exists. And this is about that finger of God literally being upon us. So while we don't have the eclipses this week, they're upcoming. We are approaching them in the coming weeks, so pay attention to your intuition now. Write down random thoughts. Pay attention to repeating events. Watch for random connections. The universe is going to jumble the pieces of your life's puzzle, and you'll be forced to put them back together in the months ahead. Are you ready? We also experience another titanic celestial shift with Neptune, the planet of spirituality, moving permanently into Aries, which occurred on the 26th of January. Whenever a major outer planet leaves a corner of the sky for an extended period, this means that we often either face, resolve, or receive a boon from the universe depending on where that planet had been orbiting for us, so individually, collectively. With it leaving Pisces for the rest of our lifetimes, you may now have immense revelations, psychic awakenings, and a deep desire to heal what has been holding you back for many years. So, this is again about being willing to look. Always be willing to look at yourself. Others are simply a mirror, they're a reflection that our souls agreed to play these roles for each other so that we could better see ourselves, so that we would ascend, transcend, triumph. And so, and to experience more of life in the time that we're here. So again, the more willing we are to look, to hone and polish our stone, to take ownership of what's ours, to release what isn't, and to move through accelerated advance, to move beyond, because this moment in time is where the rubber meets the road. It's go time. There's no turning back. These planets are moving forward. They're not going backward, they're going forward. So yes, they do retrograde, but the point is they're moving forward, and they're permanently meaning for their next series of um, evolutions and signs and so forth, moving forward. So some of these, like Neptune, will never be in Pisces again. Pluto in Aquarius. It's 165 years. We won't be here the next time it happens. Well, we may be, but not in this incarnation. So you get the point. This is really an important transition moment in time for us. And it brings me to number 3. They said 4 aces. And so 4 aces in the tarot. And 4 aces in the tarot: wands, cups, swords, and pentacles represent new beginnings, potential, and the pure, unadulterated energy of their respective elements. As the start of a new cycle, they signify fresh opportunities, inspirations, or seeds of action. Drawing all 4 aces often signals a major life change, a powerful new beginning, or a period where you have all the tools necessary to initiate change. Wands represent fire, cups represent water. So fire is action, water is emotion, swords, air, the fluidity of making things happen, and pentacles, earth, how we ground it. And it's all about fresh starts, potentials and seeds, and this magical link. It's a link to the magician, which, of course, as you know, we have the magician has all 4 suits. It has everything it needs. It has the entirety of the suits, not just the aces. So here the unseen is saying to us 4 aces. And then I heard the lyrics to the song by Prince and Sheena Easton: "You've got the look, you've got the hook." So this is saying to us, see, you have everything you need. If you feel that you're lacking something, it's an illusion. Release it. Allow. Don't force things. Allow things to unfold. Be be actively um, ready. I was searching for the right word, because sometimes there's an aspect of when we're idle. That doesn't mean we're doing nothing. Because when you're sitting in a car and it's idle, you're in the car. The ignition has been turned on, the car is running, and it's idle. It's sitting either in park or neutral, ready to go. So that doesn't denote that we've done nothing. It means that we've actively participated to get in the car, start it, awaiting direction. Where are we going? And then what do? We put the car in drive and we go. So this is 4 aces. You've got the look, you've got the hook. This means you have everything you need for whatever it is you're desiring. And then again, we know what we know, so be open to, because again, our human can say, I can see this, I can see that. The mind is that wonderful algorithm that kind of sorts everything, parses everything. Uranus, the changeover, the Chinese New Year coming up on the same day as the solar eclipse. Saturn and Neptune conjunct for the first time at 0 degrees Aries. All of this happening. And so there's destiny involved. So again, be open, be proactive, be open, and yet be willing and ready to pivot. Leaps of faith. How will this change us? Oh, I never saw that coming. Oh, I didn't realize that was an opportunity or an option. And thereby we make sure that we're not making unforced errors in our readiness, in our pursuit of advance. There's also an aspect here, it's number 4 from the unseen, and it's the word judgment. And so here's the judgment card from the tarot. And they said, judgment, new rebeginnings for humanity through covenants. And so rebeginnings is also our key word. And so let me just go to that and bring that up. Oh, where'd it go? There we are. Thank you. Sorry. Rebeginnings. So the act, process, or instances of starting again, anew, or afresh, signifying a new beginning, resumption, or a fresh start to an activity, phase of life, or project. To begin again or anew, a new start, or to begin something again. Biblically, in the Bible, beginnings, rebeginnings, generally define the inauguration of time, space, and matter by God, by the divine, specifically marking the start of creation in Genesis 1:1. It signifies the first state, origin, or source of all things, including the beginning of the gospel, Mark 1:1, the eternal nature of God and the divine, and new beginnings for humanity through covenants. The word is used to describe the first state, the foundational ground of something, or the commencement of a specific era. This is number 4 from the unseen, judgment, new rebeginnings for humanity through covenants. So this is again 7, that foundational promise, fulfillment, the foundation of God's word and so forth. And this aspect that, again, this is where the rubber meets the road, that this will mark, because again, remember, you can't, there is no recorded knowledge about what happened in, almost 6,000 some years ago, which is when astrologers can discern that this 0 point Aries, that Saturn and Neptune were at that point together. There's nothing that tells us what happened. And so, and yet it's at the 0 point. So all of the messaging is about accelerated advance, plasma consciousness, an expansion of consciousness that awakens us. We've talked about divine DNA being awakened. And yes, this all sounds fantastical. I get it. And it's certainly against the backdrop of this, dumpster fire that's going on in the dismantling and the deconstruction of what we knew. And yet, number 5 from the unseen, nothing more, nothing less. Radical acceptance. The time is now. So in other words, 5 is about change. So this is about nothing more, nothing less. Radical acceptance. There's this aspect of, so nothing more, nothing less signifies radical acceptance, authenticity, and divine trust, representing a state of being real before a higher power without pretense. So it's representing a state of being real before a higher power without pretense. It embodies contentment by finding peace with exactly what one has in the present moment. It often symbolizes surrendering to a higher will, divine will. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing else. And so this is about authenticity and humility, contentment and presence, divine will and trust, grace and simplicity, and this embracing what is, this reality of what is. The unseen is saying to us, what is? is all of this massive change for humanity. Massive. And how we shift from the old paradigm, the old institutions, the old that, yes, we've come to rely on, and yet we're witnessing the height of its corruption, the height of the goo, of where we've gone astray. Where we've gone astray are collective choices, individual and collective choices that allowed the goo, the corruption, the shadow to accumulate, is the word they're giving me. And so all of a sudden, here comes this 0 point and this wiping clean of the slate, this cleansing, purifying, at this accelerated advance. And how really this year 2026 is that year, and this is that pivotal moment in time. So as these energies arc out, watch how this all plays out, because the time is now. They're saying to us the time is now. So now let's go to Astrology by Lauren. Um, and she's talking about the full moon in Leo that just occurred and Uranus stations, which is happening late yesterday, today. And I love this quote that she is using. It's from Victor Hugo, from Les Miserables. Not being heard is no reason for silence. This is about, and look at the images of the Holy Spirit, the dove. So not being heard is no reason for silence. This is about, again, wake up, harness your empowerment, your soul source connection. Do what you can do in the moment. Don't refuse to do what you can do in the moment. And don't get caught up in the chaos. Lend your energies, place your energies in the creation of what's before us, what's evolving. That's a beautiful place to place your energies, in what you stand for, what you want, as opposed to what you're against. It's placing in it what you're for. So this is Astrology by Lauren. We tolerate discomfort and even things that oppress us. We trip over them on the walkways. They niggle us at our wounds. We bear with them and pay them little mind, because our attention is elsewhere, until it is not. The niggle feels like a punch that begins to tear at old wounds that fester and weep. They hurt. When we trip, we fall. We sustain injuries. And suddenly, those discomforts and oppressive circumstances become the problem that can no longer be ignored. This is the goo, the shadow, the accumulative choices. And suddenly those discomforts and oppressive circumstances become the problem that can no longer be ignored. That's what sesquiquadrates feel like. Minor aspects, so this is an astrological minor aspect, that cannot and will not be ignored. They become large and intolerable. This weekend, we have the full moon at 13 degrees Leo that just occurred. Sesquiquadrate Saturn at the very end of Pisces. It makes another to Neptune, now in Aries, at the 0 degree of Aries. But the sesquare to Saturn is exact and cannot, will not be ignored. We grow with the full moon. Everything becomes evident. It discloses and brings things to a grand crescendo. The full moon shines a light on an old oppressive state that we've been ignoring. But that same decrepit order is now holding on for dear life. We've talked about this. This is the train coming into the station. They're cleaving and clinging to it and trying to reverse time and stop time. And it's just an S show, because the louder they're trying to, double down and quadruple down on all of this, the worse it becomes for them. Because the arc of destiny, the finger of God, is moving forward. And thus it awakens people to say, no more. No, not this, that. So But that same decrepit order is now holding on for dear life. It is desperate. On February 13th, Saturn will leave the last degrees of Pisces and enter Aries, signaling a new beginning with new expectations. This is our farewell cry, saying, no more. Shedding, releasing, the retirement party for an old order that is losing ground. At the full moon, the moon in Leo stands in direct opposition to the sun in Aquarius. In this case, it also opposes by sign a stellium, a grouping of planets in Aquarius, allowing us to look objectively at the developments that have been brewing amongst the people at large. Because remember, Aquarius represents the people. Pluto, Mars, Mercury, Venus, the sun, all in Aquarius as the moon opposes them. So we have this, it's allowing us to look objectively at the developments that have been brewing amongst the people at large. This is what's been going on. This is where we're not satisfied, where it's all lopsided, where the goo, the shadow is so loud that it's causing people to say, oh, oh, because we've ignored it or we allowed other things to dictate something until it becomes too much. It comes at too great a price. And thus, we hit a tipping point. It shifts. By the people, we mean the people on the ground, the people that enable systems to run, the people on the grassroots level, engaging, organizing, gathering, strengthening under the tutelage of Pluto and a Saturn-Uranus sextile. And we've talked about this a lot, that when we remember, when the individual soul, the human, wakes up and remembers, every company, organization, government, institution, they are all comprised of people. That is what allows them to function, to rise, or to come into power. It is only when those institutions, leaders, governments, peoples forget or don't care. But remember, there's an overrunning, and I'm not advocating, but there was a running in the French Revolution, Pluto and Aquarius, not since the French American Industrial Revolutions. The people overran the palace. The king and queen were beheaded. This is Uranus conjunct Algol, this fixed star in the eye of Medusa. So it's to remember that the people hold the power. That's where the true power lies, is within each one of us. So again, when the people say no more, it's a tipping point. Everything changes. Astrology by Lauren. The people, they are waking up, and the full moon, which always occurs in Aquarius season, is forcing us to pay attention. It says, look at this, look at this, look at this. The people are powerful, and they are saying no more. The full moon in Leo falls on Sunday, February 1st. This year, it is followed by the direct station of Uranus on February 3rd, 4th, depending on where you are, at 27 degrees Taurus, 28 arc minutes. It is sextile, that's a harmonious aspect, Saturn at 29 degrees Pisces, and square, frictional aspect, Mercury at 25 degrees Aquarius. Planets are always stronger when they station and they make their presence known. Uranus can literally shake the very earth beneath our feet like an earthquake. There were just multiple earthquakes in Northern California. Crazy amount of them. So Uranus makes its final station in the earth sign Taurus, and we can feel the rumbles as the pottery trembles on the shelves. And even if we do not feel the tremors ourselves, there is that nauseous feeling one gets in the pit of the stomach when the earth shifts on its axis. Uranus brings the inevitability of change, and it can do so quickly, rapidly, unexpectedly. This station of Uranus is setting things in motion. It will be exactly square the solar eclipse that's coming up on February 17th. So Uranus stationing, it will be exactly square. It's a frictional aspect to the solar eclipse. So when we go from the yin wood snake to the yang fire horse is the total is the lunar eclipse, pardon me, solar eclipse. All that's happening on the same day in Uranus, and it's squaring Uranus, which serves as an inflection point along with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction on February 20th at 0 point Aries. In the meantime, the full moon in Leo is a crescendo, where all the events of the previous 2 weeks are brought to some sort of culmination. It shows us things, and we cannot look away. During the 5 months that Uranus has been retrograde, we have been realigning ourselves with our own inner truth. If we've been doing the works, we're constantly recalibrating, we're constantly listening, we're constantly emptying the vessel, purifying, cleansing, releasing, making space for the new. During its retrograde phase, its experience was being focused within. So during the Uranus retrograde phase, our experiences were focused within. That's what happens when the planets are retrograde. It's more internal work. This was a time of internal changes in which we were either making sense of the changes that were occurring in the world at large or in our own lives. Perhaps through a series of surprises, challenges, twists, and turns, we become aware that the world is indeed shifting on its axis, taking us along for the ride. So we are also being asked to consider the sorts of changes that we would like to see in our own lives as well as in the world at large. Let me just see. Elizabeth is saying, sounds like a whiplash. Well, in a way, yes, but it's more about, it's the sense that, again, the wake up call is everything is changing. It's not going back. And you even heard this, if you're reading the headlines and world news and so forth, leaders are saying, the PM, Mark Carney of Canada, saying, let us be truthful about where we've been, and literally stated it, meaning the world, the systems, and we're not going back. So let us look forward to what the new looks like. Let us create in the new, as opposed to attempting to, again, hold back time. It's impossible. There's a higher hand at play, the divine, and thereby the arc of destiny moves forward. So Mercury in radical Aquarius is square, and radical acceptance, radical Aquarius. So Mercury in radical Aquarius is square the stationing Uranus. This combination gives us permission to change our minds, to use our voices, to go in a new direction, to adapt to a new circumstance or circumstances. As a result, we should all be prepared for some possible changes in plans as we move through at least this week. But I mean, until you get to maybe, I don't know, I mean, this whole year, 2026, is going to be ever changing. But these next 90 days that we've been talking about will certainly, so be flexible in these, at a bare minimum, these next 90 days. She's Astrology by Lauren. Flexibility is being called for. The direct station of Uranus is when we ask ourselves, how do I feel about these changes that are happening? Am I comfortable with them? Is there something I can do about them? And if not, is there something I can change in my perspective that will allow me and help me to adapt to any new information that changes the picture? What would it mean for me to be the change that I wish to see in the world? What might a new normal look like for me? Have you been getting any inklings of what this might mean? If you find yourself way out of your comfort zone, the station of Uranus also gives you permission to pull back to something more comfortable. However, remember, what lies beyond the ordinary is extraordinary. So do challenge yourself, remain open, allow, thread the needle, walk the fine path, listen to your soul. Because while we are being given permission to choose a more comfortable option, would you want to wake up the next day and realize that you had foregone the extraordinary, that you didn't actually just go for it and allow divine time, will, order to play out on your behalf for something extraordinary? So while comfortable is wonderful, we're human, we all love comfort. It doesn't mean that it's the right choice or the best choice. Sometimes it is that quantum leap forward, that taking the risk, the fool, the hero's journey, to align with that energy to say, yes, that is possible. I'll have that. Lastly, Astrology by Lauren. What might be needed to get yourself back on course again, back in alignment with your soul source connection? Number 6 from the unseen. They said, picture perfect you, capital letter U. So picture perfect you describes someone or something as absolutely flawless, ideal, or visually stunning, as if appearing in a perfect photograph. It signifies the highest quality, beauty, or arrangement with no defects. It is often used to describe idealized scenes, people, or moments. Picture perfect you, letter U. It's your soul. It's the union, the unity. It is the purity of who you are at your center, your soul. And it speaks to this union because it also, then they put in parens, so picture perfect you, capital letter U, and then in parens, YOU. Because they mean the same. It speaks to the unity in the two. And so we have this aspect, and they said divinity explored, realized. So again, we're speaking to a higher octave of consciousness, plasma consciousness. We're to an accelerated advance, to a higher octave of opportunity of being. And so while comfort is nice, be uncomfortable, sit with the uncomfortableness long enough to see what fruit does that bear. What in divine time, will, and order presents itself that lifts you to something you would never have chosen for yourself, or you didn't know was possible or could happen. Because again, as humans, we know what we know. That algorithm of our mind is processing and sorting, and it's always doing so to keep us, air quotes, safe, comfortable, ordinary. But our soul is extraordinary. Our soul knows what's possible. The unseen, the divine, knows what's possible. So it comes down to allowing that and being comfortable with the discomfort, with the uncertainty or the unknown long enough to take that leap of faith. Because there's that no holding back, don't hold back, it's now or never time. Now let me go to, I want to bring up with the judgment card. We had talked about that judgment, new rebeginnings for humanity through covenants. The judgment card, which I brought up that image, I'll do it again here. When judgment appears upright, it's a spiritual alarm clock going off. In many decks, figures on this card rise from coffins, arms lifted toward a glowing angel blowing a trumpet. It's resurrection energy, renewal, rebirth, and reckoning all in one. This card calls you to evaluate your past with honesty so you can move forward with the purity of intention. It's not about shame. Integration is the way. You're being asked to level up by owning your story, forgiving yourself and others, and responding to the call of your higher purpose. And this is another beautiful quote that we have. You're not who you used to be. And that's the point. We will not be who we used to be. That is the point. And you see this beautiful iridescent rainbow butterfly. So where we've been the caterpillar, or where you may have been the caterpillar or whatever, rebirth, renewal, this reckoning all in one, and that you are not who you used to be. And that's the point. So we have all of this major energy shifting about, literally, just bringing us to our knees in the most beautiful, empowering way of the empowerment of surrender. When we surrender to the divine, to our soul source connection, it is the most empowering energy and act you will ever experience. And it's one that you continue to do. It's not something it's not a one and done. This surrender to the soul, to the unseen, to the divine, is ongoing. That's what keeps us, that God positioning satellite, GPS, that soul source connection. That's what keeps us true north. That's what advances us. And so as our consciousness expands, well, again, where are you on the ascension spiral? Are you at the tip? Are you at the tail cone? That will determine how quickly you experience all this new consciousness, this new way of being, this new energy. Or are you cleaving to the old? And I want to get in our mantra, this beautiful mantra of permanence in truth. Well, permanence in truth refers to the concept of unchanging, eternal, and reliable principles that persist regardless of time, circumstances, or human opinions. It often highlights a contrast between the fleeting, temporary nature of the physical world and the lasting, stable reality of spiritual or divine truth, of the divine. In Christian theology, it represents the unchanging nature of God, of the divine, his word and his promises. It is described as a firm foundation that remains constant while human ideologies shift. That number 7 is the foundation of God's word, the divine fulfillment, completion, these types of things. And so it's saying the unseen, the divine, is permanence in truth. It's permanent and yet ever evolving, but it's not fickle. It's permanence in truth. It's spiritual reliability. It signifies that true spiritual reality is not subject to decay or fluctuation, providing a source of stability and hope. It's about enduring principles. It involves focusing on or abiding in truths that are considered eternal, such as faith and love, rather than temporary passing things. And its contrast with impermanence. While human life is viewed as temporary, this truth is seen as enduring forever. In a broader non-religious sense, it can imply, through the lens of philosophy, that while the physical world is in constant flux, there is a deeper, more underlying and lasting realities. There is a host, the master weaver, the all that is eternal and consistent and ever present. And it's not unlike our soul. Our ego mind personality, we talk about monkey mind, it'll be bop, 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 and it will beg and barter and procrastinate and deny and litigate and do all of these things. While your soul, this permanence in truth, just sits there waiting for us. Hi, I'm here. Come back over here. Listen. And then on we go. So that is permanence in truth. It's ever present. It never leaves us. We enter life with it. We leave life with it. It is who we are at our center. And this beautiful experience, this human experience, is on loan. And so again, it's what we do with it that matters. Um, and I want to get in this other quote. Let me bring it up. I think I've got it right. A true leader captures the hearts of the people. This is by divination.com. A true leader captures the hearts of the people. So again, whether you're in your individual life, relationships, romantic, platonic, professional. A true leader captures the heart of the people, captures the hearts of the people. And so it's a major reminder that moving forward, where the rubber meets the road and it's go time, we've talked about a lot that in the new, these shadow elements, all of the things, the lies and the mistruths and oppression and suppression and manipulation and all of this, that dog don't hunt in the new. And we know this to be true. Just going to bring it up again. A true leader captures the hearts of the people. So in order for us to capture the hearts of people, whether it be loved ones, friends, colleagues, whatever it may be, it is to be a true leader. It is to reflect your sincerity, your authenticity, your depth, so that it aligns with the energies of the new that are before us. They are powerful. They are irrevocably changing. The rules of the game are changing. The game is changing. The language of the game is changing. The octave is changing. And we are to change with it. How you do that is up to you. That's an individual choice. What I, dear James, and the unseen wish for you is that you choose it with reckless abandon, meaning joy, purity, for what is before you, because that's what's on offer. And beyond the ordinary lies the extraordinary. So here's where we are. Buckle up. It's February 2026. It's going to be one heck of a ride that catapults us into the rest of the year and so forth. So until next week, be well, be kind, and be kind with yourself. Be kind with yourself and allow the unseen, your soul source connection, to guide you. Extraordinary, not ordinary. We'll see you next week.